Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review on Lou Reed's 1978 album called Street Hassle. A subscriber or a viewer recommended I review this because I reviewed Simple Minds. Um, which album is it on? Sparkle in the Rain. And they did a cover of Street Hassle, the song, and they wanted to know my opinion of the Street Hassle album. So I do have the Street Hassle album as well. So we'll get into a review here. I'll review some of the songs and then give them a score, and then give the overview of the album and give that a score as well. So I got lot of notes on this record. This is actually probably my first time doing a straightforward rock album on here, although I've done some, Midnight Oil and Billy Idol, and I got to do a. There's definitely a few bands I need to do a cult one, and I'll probably do maybe a week of rock records because there's some rock records I need to some rock artists I definitely want to hit that I like. But I'll probably have to do a week of rock records. But this is kind of probably my first '70s rock album, that's for sure. So it's kind of getting into it. The first track, "Give Me Some Good Times." Pretty straightforward rock song. I like the effects on the guitar, and that goes for most of the album. It's got a good overall rock sound on here. It's always hard to critique somebody's voice. Like Lou Reed definitely has a unique voice, and but it's hard to critique his voice in a bad way because it's not like he's trying to be a good singer. In a way, it's kind of the idea behind rock music, right? You don't need to be a great whatever. It's all about like the emotion and your energy and kind of that rock and roll attitude, right? Or maybe even so that punk attitude to be different and unique and to be able to do music and not be a perfect singer or have a great voice or but it's a unique voice and it's a unique voice in a cool way and but it's hard to critique somebody's voice, even when somebody says, oh, they have a good voice, and somebody else will say, oh, well, it's whatever. It's like it's really hard to critique people's voices, and get a resounding, you know, agreement whether there's somebody's great or somebody's good, right, or somebody's bad. I mean, even when you say somebody's voice is great, like somebody who's you know into opera singers or whatever is going to be like, oh yeah, well she or he's they're good for pop music, but they're not like a great singer. It's not like they can hit all these kind of octaves and I mean they're good for what they do, but when you critique somebody's voice, the only thing I can really critique somebody is that what I feel like is does it work with the music, and does it have the right maybe patience, and does it sit in the zone and let the music play, or does it need to be powerful when it needs to be, depending on the style? There's certain things that I do critique, but I wouldn't say I'm the best or really want to uh, review somebody's voice. I think of somebody like Peter Gabriel or something. Does Peter Gabriel have a good voice? No, I think it's like Lou Reed. It's unique. It's emotional. It fits the music. It fits the sort of avant-garde sound, experimental sound, and and Peter Gabriel's all over the place as far as like some are more dramatic and some are ballads and some are straightforward sort of dance or rock music, right? But he's a powerful singer sometimes, you know what I mean? But I don't know if his voice is good. I wouldn't say, oh, he has a great voice. I mean, he has a good voice for what he does, and it's unique. So I think in the same way, Lou Reed is unique in that same respect. I like that he doesn't give a shit. He's definitely doesn't care and has no qualms about what he writes about and what he sings about and what he says on an album. Clearly, from this album, you can tell that. There's definitely a lot of satire on this album, in some songs. But the opener, Give Me Some Good Times, overall, it's a good opener and a good rock song. I give it 2.5 stars. I think it's a good track. Dirt, I actually like a little bit better. The rawness of the guitar, it's gritty, has a nice blues feel. I think there's a nice groove in the track as well. I like the lyrics. Um, Everything works really well. Background singers at the end, nice ending. I got it 3 stars. I think it's a very good track. One of my favorites on here actually. I think it's tied for my third favorite. Um, yeah, I'd say it's my fourth favorite probably. Yeah, third or fourth. It's close between number three between that and Real Good Time Together. I really like those tracks. Track three, Street Hassle. I felt like I needed to review this as a one full song instead of doing rating all four parts for fear that I didn't mind doing that, but I didn't want that track to feel like it overpowers the album score because I do rate Street Hassle high. So do I rate it high 4 times? For the four versions of it, what it feels like. Sort of felt like I should kind of keep it as one track, but definitely take into account, each track as well. So yeah, Street Hassle, kind of unique track for the time, right? I mean, there's the orchestral feel over somebody who has such a unique voice like this is just very very unique in itself. Just those two things, and then to add on top of it that there's four parts that sort of four variations to the music in a way, and then the last part really kind of brings it home with the more lyrics and stronger vocal and maybe a little bit more powerful. But I really like the first part especially where the orchestral parts are kind of I don't know what it actually is. Is a combination of sort of strings and whatever that is. I'm blanking on what that is. Is a stand-up bass sort of? Is that what it is in that with a little bit of violins, right? Is that the full sound? But it really works. I really like the first part of it the best because it's just like going through two rock songs and then hitting that. You're just like, wow, this is unique. This is different. I think the song still has a nice blues edge to it. I think that's one of the things I really like about Lou Reed is I don't have a lot of experience with blues music, but I feel like he does a good job of bringing blues music into sort of a rock and roll, sort of with the punk attitude. He's sort of bringing blues along with him, and I think that's cool because he probably grew up liking blues, and it works with I think his outlook on life, maybe, or his outlook on things. It kind of is like it almost like is a new blues. You know what I mean? Like I could see like especially how society is today, and looking at like internet and social media and fake news and all the things that we have going on right now. I could see somebody writing a lot about that in a blues way, and I feel like Lou Reed is sort of doing that in 1978. Is writing his own blues album in this because there is a lot of like sarcasm in some of these songs and I mean just look at the titles of the songs like "Leave Me Alone," "I Want to Be Black," "Dirt." You know what I mean? It just there's a lot of sarcasm in a lot of these songs, and I feel he does a good job of bringing blues along with where he wants to go. I like that again on the Street Hassle. I like that there's four parts. It's sort of like telling a story in parts. With different versions of the music, which is cool. I think this is an awesome track. It's definitely unique and so different than probably anything that was out in 1978. And I feel like that kind of uniqueness kind of pushes it over the top for me to 4 stars and in saying that it's an excellent song. Um, Then the next track, I Want to Be Black, it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. It's just, um, you know, I get the sarcasm. I'm not one of those things that I'm not in the cancel culture and all that stuff of what he's sarcastically talking about and things like that. I don't get into that. I'm into the music part, but musically the song really doesn't do too much for me. I'm not rating it low for what somebody might think that I'm thinking about the song, but I just it kind of lacks depth and is fairly straightforward and really doesn't do much for me. So I got it a half star. It's the weakest track on the album. I think. I mean, I get that there's some humorous side in there, and some people might not think it's humorous. I don't know. I don't think the stereotypes are egregious. So I think that it is still tongue in cheek, but it just doesn't. The music doesn't really go over for me, regardless of whatever it talks about. The next track, Real Good Time Together. I really like this track. I think the harmony is really nice, works well. It's kind of a fun anthem in a way. It's straightforward. It reminds me a lot of the Beatles. Like when the Beatles, I think Lou Reed sort of does this too. Like when he has a good part of a song, he kind of turns it into an entire song. And I feel like that's kind of in the range here where, it's pretty much in the same range and then it doesn't really like go verse, chorus, verse. There's really no ups and downs. It's just consistently like this is where it is. And sometimes I feel like with the last track, Wait, that might be a weak point for that album, for that song, because it is straight too forward and it doesn't do much. And maybe at times maybe Lou Reed does his songs do lack a little bit of, I won't say depth, but just kind of experimentalism, any kind of experimentalism in there. Pretty much straightforward rock music, but then you look at like Street Hassle and that one does sort of have some experimentalism and some a little bit more moody and stuff like that. So, but that's why I think Real Good Time Together works, but then a track like Wait doesn't really work for me. But Real Good Time Together kind of sounds like like a Yellow Submarine album type feel for me, kind of a Beatles feel. Track number 9, I really like. It's my second favorite song, and it's called Shooting Star. I love the horns on the saxophone. I think that's the horns and saxophone in the background. Works really well with the guitars, where it creates like this layer and sort of creative depth to the sort of stereo imaging or not really stereo imaging, but the sort of the sound landscape, I suppose you could say something like that. It just creates like a nice layering depth where it sounds very full. And I really like that. And to do that with guitars, saxophone, and horns consistently, because they're going on pretty consistently, is pretty unique. And I really think that it does, it works really well with the lyrics. This track has a sort of a glam rock side to it. I could see Brian Ferry of Roxy Music like really liking this track. It does really has a glam sound to it. Really good track. I think it's really good. I always like this one. It's just 3.5 stars. And then Leave Me Alone. I think it's okay. I got it 1 star. I don't know. It doesn't. I think it goes on a little too long. I don't know. It just doesn't really. I don't think I can say anything great about it. I can't say anything bad about it. Just okay. Wait, I got it a little bit better at 1.5 stars. Perhaps too straightforward, like I was saying earlier. It's a little bit better than okay. I got it 1.5 stars. So, not a strong ending for the album, but those two last songs. Um, when I think of the overall of the album, certainly some good songs, a good mix of rock and roll and blues with sort of an alternative side and uniqueness. The title track, Street Hassle, is certainly a highlight for sure. Some good supporting songs like Shooting Star, Good Time Together, and Dirt. The album has a surprising depth to it. Like you think of it just as some 3 and 4 minute songs. Even there's two, three songs that are like right around, even under 2 minutes, under 3 minutes. And so you'd think there wouldn't be a lot of depth. But thanks to Street Hassle and the uniqueness and differences of some of the songs, like it does have surprisingly some depth to the album. Um, when I think of the opportunities of the album, nothing really sticks out. A few okay tracks. Maybe other people that grew up with the album may like tracks that I didn't necessarily thought were that ones that were I thought were okay. Maybe they have, maybe I'm overlooking those, but I found them kind of basic. Nothing really kind of pulled me into it. Um, you know, I've probably had this album for since the '90s. I mean, I'm not like I didn't grow up with it or anything like that, so I don't have any really bias towards it. Um, Maybe I've had it 30 years, probably since the early '90s. But I can't really, say much opportunities about it. Yeah, just a few okay tracks. I can't really say anything about the production. The '70s cover is it's strange how I don't know, the disco light sort of it just it oozes '70s. It almost looks like a Boss Skaggs cover or something like that. Like it's but Lou Reed is so cool, right? I mean, it's just a very '70s. Him smoking a cigarette on the back, just very '70s cover. Not in a good or bad way, but just it definitely screams '70s. Um, as far as the production and everything like that, mixing, everything's pretty solid for late '70s. Um, but overall, I have it 19 stars. When I add up all the song stars, divided by 8 is a 2.37, so a little bit below good, a little bit before, a little bit below, but considering Street Hassle and considering the surprising depth of the album, and I do feel that I may be slightly, um, you know, rating a couple of the rock tracks a little low. Like "Leave Me Alone." I don't know if anybody likes that track or Wait, but considering that, and I feel like the Street Hassle, the 4 parts, but I'm rating it as one. That would actually help the scoring, but I feel like the album is a little bit better as a whole than certain parts. So I give it a couple extra points, and I wanted to put it at a good album. I feel like it is a good album, so I put it at a 61 out of 100. So yeah, that's my score on Street Hassle from 1978 by the amazing Lou Reed. 61 out of 100. So good album overall. Really enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll probably do. I don't know, I'll do another Lou Reed couple of albums in review. We'll do a couple more coming up. All right, thanks so much for watching.